Good morning, everyone. Let's get started today on our backs. We're going to use a blanket. And if you don't have a blanket, even like a small throw blanket or like a beach towel would work. And we want to take our blanket, something similar in size, and we're going to roll it up. Excuse me, Bruce. Yes, thank you for your help. So it looks something like this, little taquito burrito thing. And then we're going to take it about, I don't know, like maybe a quarter of the way down the yoga mat, your yoga mat, and then come onto your back. And then the bottom of the blanket is going to rest at the very tips of your shoulder blades. So coming down. And lean back. So the shoulders are kind of coming off of your prop, and then your arms are just resting above, kind of like over this shelf that we've created, off to the side. So the heart is lifted, and the head is resting on the earth. And if this doesn't feel comfortable or create some type of tension in the neck or the upper back, you can just remove your prop and lay down. And start to come into this moment that we've created for ourselves, this time that we've created to take care of our bodies, to nourish and condition our bodies, our minds, and maybe even our beautiful little souls. Start to scan the body. So starting from the feet, traveling up the legs, the back, the torso, the belly, the chest, the arms, the neck, the head. Just scanning the body for any points of tension or tightness. Starting to notice how the body is feeling. Looking for any messages that the body may have for you today. And if you do find some tension, maybe as you discover that tension, see if you can soften or ease and relax that part of the body a little bit. And if the body doesn't relax and doesn't want to let go, that's okay. Just observing and honoring that's where your body is today. And in this heart opening position with the chest lifted, draw your attention to the space around your heart. And maybe send some breath into that space in the chest. So maybe taking a couple of deeper inhales. Just imagining the breath traveling into that space around the heart. And then let's set up our Ujjayi pranayama, our victorious breath for practice today. So finding a slight constriction in the back of the throat. With the mouth closed, start breathing in and out of the nose, creating a sort of whisper sound in the back of the throat, it sound like an ocean, the ocean waves crashing on the shore. For my Star Wars fans, maybe that's a gentle Darth Vader breath. And for my pug fans, it might be more of a snore. And then setting up a pattern that you can maintain for the duration of class today. So using this pattern to guide your movements, guide the length of your movements, but also to keep the mind tethered to the body so that when things become challenged or difficult in our practice, that we can use this breath to calm and steady the mind, steady the heart, and relax the body. And then in the times in our practice where we're a little less active and the poses are more passive, allowing the mind something to hold on to, paying attention to the breath to keep it from wandering, to keep the mind from wandering. We're going to roll over onto a side. You can pick which side you want to go to, left or right. And then just scooting the prop out from underneath you. And you can set it off to the side. And then just resting here on the side. Maybe letting your head rest on your bicep. And then bringing your attention to that back space now of the heart. So we were in this kind of exalted position for some time. So just noticing how the back, the upper part of the back, and that space of the rib cage behind the heart, how that feels here. Press yourself up to a seat. Actually, we're just going to come all the way onto our bellies. Bruiser is having fun today. So allow the tops of the feet to press down onto the earth. And then you're going to take your hands and you're going to slide them down toward your low ribs, toward the lower part of the ribs, so kind of midway down the torso. And then drawing the shoulder blades in toward one another. The forehead is reaching down, maybe even resting on the mat if that feels okay. And we're going to take a couple of rounds of cobra pose. So we'll inhale, lift the heart up. Exhale, come back down. Inhale, reach the heart forward, pressing the tops of the feet into the mat. Elbows are reaching in toward one another. And then exhale, coming back down. And let's do that for a few more rounds of breath, letting your breath guide this movement. And really see if you can create this lift from the upper part of the back and the strength of your core. So we're not using the hands to assist this lift. It's all coming from the strength of the back and the core here. We'll say 2 more lifts and lowers. And then after your last one, stack the palms in front of the face, allow the forehead to rest down onto the palms, and then bend the knees and tick-tock the knees from side to side. It should feel like a nice release on the low back. Allow the feet to come back down and rest on the mat. And coming into Sphinx pose from here. So allowing shoulders to stack over elbows. Palms are flat on the mat, and you're pressing your hands into the mat here, pressing the tops of the feet into the mat, and then the pubic bone is also pressing into the mat. Pulling the heart forward, and then create this like pulling, scrubbing sensation with your hands. So pressing the hands strong into the mat, like they couldn't actually move, and then pulling back. So dragging the hands back toward the body. So they're not actually moving, but you're creating this like energetic change and power and energy in your hands. So pulling the hands toward the body, which should create this kind of pulling of the heart forward, this kind of counteraction, pulling and lifting the heart forward. And then draw the belly into the spine here and see if we can feel this more in the belly, the stretch in the belly, and allowing this activation, this, again, movement to be in the upper part of the back, that back space of the heart. So the heart is reaching forward and the upper part of the back is in flexion. I wonder how long Bruiser's gonna stay here for. Stay connected with the breath here. Lift out of the shoulders, still scrubbing those hands back. And then on your next exhale, allow to gently lower yourself back down to the earth, stacking the palms again in front of the face. Allow the forehead to rest on the palms, and then bending the knees and tick-tocking the knees from side to side. Release the feet to the earth, and then push yourself up and back, coming into child's pose. Folding the torso over the thighs, allow the forehead to reach down toward the earth. Arms can be out in front of you, long. And maybe experimenting with tucking the toes. So we've kind of done a lot on the low back already. We've kind of created some compression in the low back. So maybe experiment with tucking your toes in this child's pose. It might you might feel a nice release in the low back. So maybe experiment with that if you haven't tried that before. If you don't like that, just untucking the toes and taking a traditional Balasana, child's pose. As a reminder, this is your wisdom pose. This is what I call your wisdom pose. So at any time during your practice today, if things become challenging or difficult, or things come up for you and you want to spend some time to reflect, catch your breath, this is available to you at any time during your practice. This practice or any practice. So honoring what your body needs, honoring what the mind needs. I call this the wisdom pose because only you know when you need this pose. Only you have the wisdom of the experiences from your body to tell you when you need this moment of pause. Shifting forward into tabletop, we're going to take a couple rounds of cat-cow here. So stacking shoulders over wrists. Knees are stacked below hips and about hip distance apart. Toes can be tucked or untucked. It's just a personal preference. I like tucked to feel like it gives me a little bit more balance. Draw the navel into the spine and lift out of the shoulders. So think flat back like a tabletop. And the head is an extension of the spine. So we're not dumping and curving, craning the neck forward, and we're not looking up. So the gaze is right in front of your face here. And then on your inhale, allow the sit bones to tilt back, reaching up toward the back space of your room, belly hammocks, and then pulling the heart forward. So remember that scrubbing sensation that we did when we were in our Sphinx pose. So see if we can find that here, maybe scrubbing the hands and maybe even trying to draw the knees in toward one another. And draw the navel into the spine and maybe even here, trying to find that elongation in the belly and that flexion in the upper part of the back. On your exhale, round the spine, lifting out of the shoulders. The back space of the heart reaches up toward the sky. The sit bones tilt down toward the earth. And then let the head be heavy, maybe tucking the chin in toward the chest, coming into this cat pose. And then noticing again the backspace of that heart. So what does this feel like? to have this, the back, the upper part of the back lifted, open in this pose. And then using the length of your breath on an inhale, coming back into cow pose. And then on your exhale, coming into cat pose. And we'll say a few more rounds of cat and cow using your own breath. I'll give you a couple of moments to go through a few more rounds, just warming up the spine here. And then find some stillness, come back to neutral, tabletop pose. And then tuck the toes, shift the hips up and back, coming into your first downward facing dog. If you have a down dog ritual and like to move, wiggle, shift, go ahead and take that now. If you don't, we can use some gentle movement to kind of wake up the muscles and the joints here. So pedaling the feet, maybe bending and straightening the legs. Maybe shifting the hips from side to side, or even shifting forward to plank and back to downward facing dog might be a nice variation. Find some stillness, and then just checking in with our alignment here. So hands are shoulder distance apart. Hands are pressed, fingers are pressed firmly into the mat. We're lifting out of the armpits. So imagine there's a space, a nice space created in the armpits, and you're wrapping the triceps underneath the arms. Shoulders are sliding down the back. Lift the hips up to the sky. Draw the navel in and knit in those low ribs. So those low ribs like to flare out. So see if you can draw those low ribs in toward the belly. And then feet are about hips distance apart. So that's about 1.5 fists of space between your big toes. And then play around with bending and straightening the knees. So we want to avoid hyperextending the knees, creating any unnecessary pressure in that knee joint. So maybe you have a gentle or even a deep bend in the knee here. And then the heels are reaching down toward the earth. Inhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. And then on the exhale, walk or step to the top of the mat, meeting in a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, slowly rise up, allowing one vertebrae at a time to come up, and the head comes up last. Inhale, reach the arms to the sky. Exhale, hands come to our heart center. We're going to play with a few arm variations today. So taking the hands, your first option will be to clasp opposite elbows. And we'll start here. So just holding on, allow the shoulder blades to slide down the back. Draw the chin in toward the chest. Pausing here. Take an inhale. On your exhale, release the clasp, folding forward, hinging forward at the hips, slight bend in the knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Plant the hands, step the feet back, high plank pose. Shift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach the right heel to the sky. Exhale, step the right foot behind the right hand and flatten the step onto the left foot, left toes pointing toward the top left corner of the mat. And then inhale, rise up, warrior one. Checking in with the alignment here, making sure that both hip bones are plugged into femur bones, thigh bones are plugged into the hip socket. So kind of creating this spiraling energy, facing toward the hips are facing toward the top of the mat. Shoulders are stacked over hips. And then taking that arm variation again. So allowing the hands to reach around, clasping opposite elbows. And then allow the shoulder blades to fall down the back. Maybe reaching the heart forward a little bit more, using the strength of the upper back, the thoracic spine, to bend here and allow the heart to come forward. Release that clasp. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky. Exhale, plant the hands. Step the left foot up to meet the right. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose. Sink the hips back. Reach the arms to the sky. Checking in with our alignment, making sure that the knees are behind toes. Sinking the hips down a little bit deeper. Draw the navel into the spine, and then the spine is long, and the crown of the head reaching energetically out through the crown of the head. And then hands, we're going to do that same hand variation, clasping behind the back. So opposite elbows. I should have mentioned this earlier. Maybe your clasp is just hand to hand, or maybe hand to wrist. But any variation where you're reaching behind, and then shoulder blades sliding down the back. Sink a little deeper in your chair. Maybe reach that heart forward a little bit more. Let go of that hand clasp. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky. Exhale, hinging forward at the hips, coming into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step the feet back, high plank pose. Take another inhale, and then exhale, shifting back, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach the left heel to the sky. Exhale, step the left foot behind the left hand, spinning onto that right foot, right toes pointing toward the top right corner of your mat. Get strong and grounded in your feet, and then inhale, rise up, warrior one on the left. Checking in with the alignment, plugging those femur bones in. So again, creating this kind of spiraling energy. Shoulders are stacked over hips here, and then hips are pointed, both hip points pointed toward the top of the mat. And then hands reach behind, clasping opposite elbows. Allow the shoulders to drip down the back. Reach the heart forward. Breathe here. Inhale, reach the arms to the sky. Exhale, plant the hands. Step the right foot up to meet the left, coming into a forward fold at the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose. Oh yeah. I read something this morning. Hand clasp. Let's go ahead and grab opposite elbows behind the back. Slide the shoulders down the back. I read, I've never heard this called this before, fierce pose, Utkatasana, fierce pose. I like that. Drop the navel into the spine, stay strong here. Maybe sink a little deeper into your chair. You're looking fierce. Release the hands. Allow the hands to come to heart center. We'll take another inhale. And then exhale, we're going to slowly stand up, meeting in mountain pose, Tadasana. And then we're going to play with another arm variation. So if this was already comfortable for you and you like this variation of this pose, you can still take this opposite elbow clasp, maybe taking the awkward grip. So maybe the left arm comes behind the right arm or vice versa, just noticing what you did on the other side. Or if you'd like to play around with reverse prayer, so allowing the hands to come behind the back and then pressing the hands in together. So that might be a lower variation. Maybe it's down toward the low back, or maybe you're bringing your hands up toward the center of the back. So just playing around with that, getting a feel for the variation that feels comfortable for you and good for you and your body. And then again, allow the heart to come forward and the shoulder blades sliding down the back here. Feel nice, hopefully nice, Stretch in the shoulders, maybe the palms, maybe even the forearms. Go ahead and let that go. And then inhale, reach the hands to the sky. Exhale, hinging forward at the hips, coming into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank pose. And then shifting the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach the right heel to the sky. Exhale, step it all the way through back between the hands, this time staying high on the ball of the back foot. And then inhale, reach the hands to the sky, crescent pose. So just like in our warrior one, these thigh bones plugging into the hip sockets, creating that spiraling energy. And then chest to torso is facing toward the top of the mat. And then taking that hand variation that you like. So again, clasping opposite elbows, hands, forearms, or even experimenting with that reverse prayer. Slide the shoulder blades down the back and then reach the heart forward. Allow there to be a bend in the upper part of the back. Breathing. Maybe sink a little deeper into that right knee. And releasing any hand clasp. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky. Exhale, plant the hands onto the mat and allow the left foot to step up to meet the right, meeting in a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, mountain pose. And hands come to heart center. And then inhale, sit back, chair pose. I was supposed to take you to chair instead of mountain, but we got a mountain and then we're going to get a chair. And then taking any arm variation that you'd like again. So if that's that opposite wrist, opposite elbow, we're playing with that reverse prayer. Sink a little deeper into your chair, reach that heart forward. Breathe into your fierce pose. Release any arm variation. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky. Exhale, hinging forward at the hips, coming into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank pose. And then shifting the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach the left heel to the sky. Exhale, step the left foot all the way through, staying high on the ball of the back foot, and then rising up, crescent pose. Making sure that alignment is femur bones are plugged into the pelvis, the hip sockets. That back thigh is strong, lifted and active. Shoulders stacked over hips. And then taking that arm clasp or reverse prayer. Reach the heart forward. Slide the shoulder blades down the back. Breathe. I think this is such a beautiful pose. Love this. I love this arm variation. I love crescent. I just think it's such a beautiful, powerful, elegant even pose. Release your arm clasp, reaching the hands to the sky. Exhale, plant the hands on the mat. Step the right foot up to meet the left, coming into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose. Sink those hips back. And then taking your reverse prayer or that arm clasp. Maybe sinking a little deeper into your chair. Pull that heart forward. Upper part of the back, bending, flexing here. Flex your heart to the world. Let the world receive the magic, the love that's in your heart. Release your hands. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky. Exhale, very slowly stand up. Hands come to heart center, mountain pose. Let's pause, close the eyes. Noticing the heart here. Maybe you feel the power and the beating strength of the heart. We've warmed up the body here. Maybe noticing that back space, how and if it's changed. Or maybe just noticing how it protects the heart. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky. Exhale, hinging forward at the hips, coming into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back. I'm going to break down a vinyasa for you. So option to release the knees to the earth. Inhale, shift forward, and then exhale, lowering all the way down onto the belly. Tops of the feet press into the earth. And we're going to take that cobra pose, just like we did those cobras at the beginning. So inhale, reaching the heart forward. And then exhale, tucking the toes, shifting the hips up and back, coming into your downward facing dog. Let's take a cleansing breath together, releasing any air that's currently in the lungs. And then a deep inhale in, fill up the lungs. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. Ollie has joined us now. Inhale, reach your right heel to the sky. Exhale, put it back down. We're not doing that. Bend the knees, gaze forward, sorry. Walk, step, or even jump to the top of the mat, meeting in a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sink the hips back. Hello, chair pose. We're getting lots of chairs today. We're feeling fierce in our chairs. Hands come behind the back again, reaching that heart forward. Begin to shift weight into your right foot, getting light on the left, and kick that left heel in toward the left glute. And then slowly start to reach that left leg back, coming into crescent pose. Right foot is in front. And I'm bringing hands to heart center here. And then maybe finding with the hands now in this position, reaching that heart forward and noticing if there's more openness here and how it feels different in this back bend versus when hands are in reverse prayer. I'm going to open up into warrior two, so allowing that left foot to spin flat. Toes are pointed toward the left side of the mat, and then arms come out to the side like a T, and shoulders are stacked over hips. And again, plugging, creating this energetic lift with the bones, plugging into our hip sockets, and sinking into that right knee. And then just checking to see, is that right knee pointing in, or is it tractioning out, energetically reaching out toward that right pinky toe? And then the gaze is out over the right middle finger. And then inhale, reverse your warrior. Left palm comes down, left leg, and the right arm comes up and overhead. And then imagine the heart lifting, reaching up. So again, finding flexion in the upper part of the back. And it's reaching up toward that right hand, reaching up toward the sky. Sink a little deeper into that right knee. Breathe. And then exhale, right forearm to right thigh, reaching left arm up and overhead. And then opening the torso to the left a little bit more. Yeah. Lifting up the heart. And then we're just going to do a little flow from extended side angle to reverse warrior. So from this extended side angle, take an inhale, and then exhale, reverse your warrior. We're just going to flow back and forth like this, but I really want you to feel that lift in the heart. See if you can stay deep in that right knee. Try not to lift out of it. And if you need less, go ahead and come on up. And then pausing in your extended side angle here. Coming back up, warrior two. Straighten that right leg. Turn the toes in toward the left side of the mat. So both toes are pointing toward the left side of the mat. Hands come to hips. Take an inhale. Keep a slight bend in the knees. And then hinging forward at the hips. Coming into this wide leg forward fold. Allow the hands to come down to the earth. Allow the spine to round here. Allow the crown of the head to reach down toward the earth. Tilt the sit bones up to the sky. So really activate, firing up that back side of the body here. Maybe allowing the hands to grab onto the ankles and maybe assist you with a very, very gentle pulling you in just a little bit deeper. And breathing. Noticing again the back space of the heart. What's happening in that part of the body as we fold forward in this pose. You grabbed onto your ankles, go ahead and let that go. And then we're gonna walk the hands toward the back side of the mat. So turning the left toes toward the top of the mat. Hands will come toward the back of the mat, excuse me. Everything comes toward the back of the mat. And then you're gonna step the left foot back to meet the right. So we're in a high plank pose at the back of the mat. And then option to take a vinyasa here. So I'm gonna demo up dog for you if you want to take that cobra version of a vinyasa. So inhale, shifting forward, and then exhale, lowering halfway, chaturanga. Release the tops of the feet to the mat, and then inhale, reach that heart forward, coming into upward facing dog. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Yeah. All right, let's get all that goodness on the other side. Bend the knees, gaze forward. Exhale, walk, step, or maybe jump to the back of the mat now. Inhale, forward, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sink the hips back, hands come up high, chair pose. Hands come to reverse prayer. Or if you like that opposite hand clasp, you can take that. Slide those shoulder blades down, reach the heart forward. I'm here to tell you today, you are a bliss being. What does that mean? It means that you are here to experience all of the good sensations that this world and your body have to offer. Begin to shift the weight into your left foot. Get light on the right, draw the right heel in toward the right glute. Let's let go of that reverse prayer and bring hands to heart center. And then exhale very slowly, stepping that right foot back, coming onto the ball of the right foot, rising up, high crescent pose. Plugging those femur bones into their hip sockets, lifting that back leg strong and active. Hands come to heart center, shoulders stacked over hips. And then find that lift with the heart. Reach the heart forward. Upper flexion of the back. Notice how it feels. Staying connected with the breath here. Coming into warrior two, spinning onto that right foot, right toes, facing toward the right side of your mat. I'm sorry, left side of your mat, I think. Shoulders stacked over hips, arms come out to the side like a T. Sink a little deeper into that left knee. And then just noticing if that left knee is folding in, see if you can draw it back toward midline, energetically reaching out over that left pinky toe. Gazes over the left middle finger here. Breathing. And then inhale, reverse your warrior. Allow the right arm to come down the leg. Reach that left hand up and over. And then again, finding that lift in the heart here, reaching the heart up like it's coming up toward the palm or reaching up toward the sky. And then sinking a little deeper into that left leg. Exhale, left forearm, left thigh, reaching right arm up and overhead, extended side angle. Opening the torso up a little bit more. And then finding that flow again. So coming into the reverse warrior, and then back to extended side angle. And see if you can stay deep in that left knee without lifting up. Pausing in your next extended side angle, staying here. Inhale, come back up, warrior two. Straighten that left leg. Turn the toes toward the left side of the mat. Hands come to hips. Find a slight bend in the knees. And then exhale, folding forward, coming into your wide leg forward fold. Hands come down to the earth. Maybe experiment, maybe straight step out the feet a little bit wider. And maybe placing the hands behind you to kind of pull you a little bit deeper into this pose. So hands maybe coming behind you, pulling you a little bit deeper. Allow the spine to round, the head to be heavy here. And then noticing how the heart feels. Maybe taking time to notice any other sensations in the body right now and how you feel. If you took a deeper variation, maybe walking those feet back in and then turning the toes toward, turning the right toes toward the top of the mat again, walking the hands over, coming back to the top. Right foot steps back to meet the left, high plank pose, and then option to take your vinyasa, taking cobra or up dog, meeting in downward facing dog. Just checking our time. Okay, good. We're doing great today. From our down dog, stepping all the way through, we're going to come into a seat. And I like using my blankets to sit on when I come into my forward fold. Just provides a nice lift in the pelvis and helps me get into the back sides of the legs a little bit better and provide some relief in my low back. So maybe folding your blanket and just finding a little bit of a lift for you to sit on. So if you have that prop available, coming back and sitting onto your blanket. And then you're coming down toward the edge of the blanket. So we're not sitting all the way back, but we're kind of on the edge of the blanket. And we're coming into a wide seated long leg forward fold. So legs are extended out in front of you. Flex the feet, point the toes toward the nose. And then finding evenness in your sit bones, grow tall in the spine. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky. And then exhale, hinging forward at the hips and pausing at your first line of resistance. So that first line of resistance is that initial tugging, wherever you might feel that in the back of the legs, the hips, or even the low back here. Allow the hands to come down onto the earth, keeping the spine long and pulling you a little bit deeper into this pose. And then if you feel some space and would like to go a little bit deeper, take another inhale. And then option, you can exhale and fold, keeping the spine long, or you can allow the spine to round And allow the forehead to come down, reaching toward your legs. If you have a pug in your lap, you can use your pug as your prop, maybe resting your cheek or your forehead down. If you don't have a pug, you could even stack forearms or even fists. Thank you, buddy. You're a very good helper today. Very good helper. Thank you. Yeah. Breathing, staying connected to the breath. These are the times when the mind likes to wander, when we start to enter this more passive part of our practice. So using the breath to guide the mind and to stay connected with this moment. Use your hands to slowly assist you to rise back up. And we're going to come all the way onto our back. If you like, maybe just sliding off of the blanket and then coming back and allowing the hips, the low back, to rest on the edge of that blanket. That might feel nice. We're going to do legs to the sky. So this might be like a nice gentle support on the low back. Excuse me. Inhale, reach the knees in toward the chest. And maybe rocking, rolling out the low back a little bit here. Just maybe shifting from side to side. And then finding stillness. And then exhale, reach the heels to the sky. Maybe keeping a slight bend in the knee. And let's keep the feet flexed here, allowing the toes to drip down toward the nose. Hands can come down by the sides. I know. Inhale, draw the knees into the chest. Bring your arms out to the side like a T. Take an inhale, and then exhale, allow the knees to fall over to the left, coming into this easy twist. And then just adjusting the knees, the legs to a degree that feels comfortable so that you can still keep that right shoulder on the earth. So the right shoulder isn't lifting off. So you might have to bring the knees down a little bit, but just playing around to a degree that feels comfortable in your body. And then using these next few moments just to start to draw in some gratitude for the work that you put in on your mats today. For all of the ways that your body allows you to experience the incredible sensations that life has to offer. Inhale, draw the knees back to center. And then on your next exhale, allow the knees to fall over to the right. I know, I love you too, bud. Yes, Bruiser's very supportive today. Maybe even inviting in some gratitude for that amazing heart that's beating in your chest. And within our heart space lies the truest versions of ourselves, who we are. And the world has a right to see who that is. So maybe even drawing in some gratitude for that beautiful heart that beats in your chest and helps deliver life to this body. Inhale, draw the knees back to center. If you have that prop underneath your low back, you might want to plant the feet and then shifting the hips up slightly and sliding the prop out from under you. Allow the back to come down to the earth. And then coming into your final resting pose. So allowing the legs to come down the length of the mat. or any other variation. So if you do have that blanket and you like to roll it up and place it under the knees, or maybe providing some support under the neck. And then arms come down to the side, palms reaching up toward the sky, snuggling in your shoulder blades toward one another. And let's take a cleansing breath to release us into Shavasana. So big, deep inhale, fill up the lungs. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. Shavasana. Start to bring some awareness back to the body. Maybe gently wiggling fingers and toes. I'm just making up words over here. Your usual shit that you get from me. If you would like to finish class in a seat with me, maybe rolling onto a side, maybe rocking and rolling up and forward. Hands coming to heart center,
And it's just an honor to share this practice with you and to guide you on these beautiful mornings and share the magic of this yoga practice. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Namaste. Mwah.